Scott Mitchell here with It's My Game Speaker Highlights. It's My Game Tennis Conference. This global tennis conference for all those that have a passion about kids tennis. It's August 14th to the 23rd. You can register at conference.evolve9.com. Go there. It's a one-of-a-kind, like I said, a global virtual conference. You don't have to travel anywhere, but it's nothing that you've seen before. So we look forward to seeing you there. Today I have Mitch, the Education Project Manager with Tennis Australia. Welcome, Mitch.
Thank you for having me, Scott.
Absolutely. I know you're busy. I know things are crazy down there, just like it is all around the world. So tell us a little bit. I know you've been instrumental in the shaping of Tennis Australia and the coaching program, the educational pathway down there. So tell us a little bit about what you put in place down there that's working so well for Tennis Australia.
Well, first of all, Scott, thank you very much for having me on, and I think it's a terrific initiative that Mike and you and the team are doing. I think it's wonderful to have such a worldwide conference. But I guess of late we've really been working with our coaching programs to really cater more for the player. So in terms of our methodology and the way we've been doing things, we've obviously seen a big shift from the very didactic, prescribed techniques approach more towards empowering the player. And so our courses reflect that. So lots of choice, lots of creativity, lots of imagination, and putting the game really at the center of the learning experience for our coaches when they're learning. For when they go back into their businesses. And I think that might be one thing historically, Scott, that we have been challenged with, that tennis traditionally has been taught in a very traditional way. There's a basket of balls, there's lots of feeding. The technique precedes any form of game, and the game is often happened right at the end of the lesson.
Right.
And so the shift towards more a student-centered approach, that would also be called an athlete-centered approach, where you see the central feature of the game and the tactical concepts actually leading the way. And the coach's role really becomes that of a facilitator, and will step in and guide the players via questioning and problem solving. But I think when dealing with children, it's got to be enjoyable. They need to be empowered, and they need to have some say in what they're doing. So our coaching programs are very student-centered, very athlete-centered, and structured around those principles.
And that's great. And I think that's something that a lot of different areas around the world and here in the United States, I think that's the direction that we're headed as well. Maybe not as quickly as you all have down there, but we're getting there. We're slowly getting there. Now, I know you also oversee the coaching and education, the learning and development pathway, and you co-authored the curriculum for the very well-known, I think it's well-known around the world, is the Hot Shots program for your schools. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, Scott, what we decided to do was, obviously schools are a huge opportunity to get kids playing. And we know that within schools and within their physical education programs that health and PE is marginalised. Obviously, numeracy and literacy are positioned far higher. So there are very limited amounts of time for players and students at school to be physically active. I don't think it's any surprise that we do have a movement crisis, and I think that's worldwide. And that we're seeing young children leaving grade 6, which you'd call it here, which is around about 11 and 12, with very low movement competence and confidence. So what we decided to do was write a really good team we put together to write 2 curriculum-aligned resources, one for primary and one for secondary. And it aligns directly to the curriculum. And it's designed really for teachers and coaches as well, because we have a really good program here where coaches can go into schools during curriculum time, during physical education time, and conduct tennis sessions. And the beauty of that, Scott, is that it serves the purpose of the teachers. So it's curriculum aligned. So it's ticking off all the things that they need to be doing within the curriculum. Right. And the coaches are there also to support the teacher. And again, there's such large numbers at schools. You know, we're not seeing the same sorts of numbers that we might see in our coaching programs, where we might have, you know, squads of 8, or even with junior classes of 4 or 5, we're seeing, you know, classes of up to 30. And in many of these cases, the skill levels of the students are quite low. So it's great to have the coaches involved to be able to provide the tennis knowledge in the background, and then the teacher to work with the coach really synergistically to be able to deliver on the curriculum outcome. So it's been really useful for the teachers, and it's been great for the coaches, because they develop these terrific relationships with the schools and coaches, and then hopefully we get this great connection between school and club, which we obviously want to do. We want retention once they leave primary school and then into secondary. And we know that there's the phenomenon of a drop-off, I guess, which every country is dealing with. So hopefully we see this introduction into tennis in schools in primary, starting at early years. So we're looking at foundation all the way through to grade 6, and then into up to year 10.
Well, it's a fantastic program and very successful. So tell us a little bit. I know you're doing at least one presentation for us. And so tell us a little bit about your presentation that's based, I think it's I Play, Therefore I Am.
Yeah, and I think it's the title of the conference is terrific. It's my game. And really my presentation is around an initiative that we have. It was pre-COVID-19, this initiative. It was 2 years ago. And Associate Professor Shane Pill and Rick Baldock from ACHPA SA, which is one of our peak physical education bodies, and myself wrote a paper. And the paper was based, it was called Driveway Tennis. And basically driveway tennis is a metaphor for play anywhere, anytime, with anyone, their way. So what we wanted to do, Scott, is really reignite and reimagine tennis around the home. And I think that we've lost that movement culture a little bit, that children and youth come home and they don't necessarily view that there are multiple tennis courts in and around the home. And it doesn't matter how big your home is, or if you've got a driveway, or if you don't have a driveway, you can go inside. As long as you have the central feature of our game, which is a rally, which is projection and reception, we wanted to complement and try and increase this movement competence and confidence of students that and players, that when they come home, they don't just go straight to their iPad or turn their TV on or their computers on, but they actually play at home. The other great thing I think about it, Scott, is that it gets the family involved as well. It gets the parents involved. So family sport, obviously, post-COVID-19 is going to be really important. But so we wrote that paper, and that was a couple of years ago. And the practical application of it was Tennis Australia developed what is called home court tennis. And so what we basically did is put together a number of different elements for students and players, that when they left their formal coaching environments, that they can go home and that they could view the home as having multiple tennis courts and continue to play. Now, that's certainly my generation. I would come home and I'd hit up against the wall. I'd hit with my brother. If it rained, we went inside. We created different nets out of the kitchen table. We're on the deck. We hit in the garage. And so essentially I'll be talking a little bit about that project and how that can be useful going into the future to improve the movement competence and confidence of children.
It's fascinating, and it's you know, all that you said, even in our short time here, is something that I think a lot of the coaches that are going to register are looking for. So those of you that are watching, remember, go to conference.evolve9.com to register. You've got time still to get a discount if you do so. If not, remember, look at the VIP package, because that will get you all the content, over 40 hours worth of content, but you also have it for roughly a year's period of time. So you're going to have access to this for a long period of time, because we know everybody's busy and wanting to get back out on the court. So thank you, Mitch, for your time. Great insight, and we look forward to seeing your presentation.
Thank you very much, Scott, for the conversation. Terrific to be involved.